Hey everyone, welcome back to DC Motorworks. Got something super exciting for you here today. You all know that we are enthusiasts of Cannonball here and driving fast. And this car is the alleged car that did the UK Cannonball record from the northern tip of the UK to the southern tip in 9 hours and 36 minutes, again, allegedly. And then later also came to the US and did a Cannonball from New York to LA in 30 hours and 22 minutes. Again, this is all alleged. It has also done a couple rallies around Europe, so it is a international car. But today we're going to take a few minutes and show you around it and show what it needs after all this high-speed driving. So my good friend Tommy Davies, who is the steward of this car, is planning on coming to the US at some point here soon, and had a few things he wanted us to look at this. It's been at our other good friend, Taylor Hole. He's got a storage lockup down in Noonan, Georgia, which is just an hour and a half or so south of us. It's been sitting there for a while, and he's, like I said, coming into the US here soon, and wanted to get it going again and just make sure anything it needed is all said and done. We got some noise in the front end that he wanted us to look at. A couple warnings on the instrument cluster, and just normally just give it a look over to make sure he can drive it while he's here in the US. So one of the best parts of that process of seeing if this one is ready for another visit and some drive time is to drive it ourselves. So let's go for a ride. Let's try that again, shall we? Because this is a UK spec car, so we are going to be right-hand drive today. First gear is nice and short. You almost don't even really need throttle to take off. You can just let the clutch out slowly. It's got short gearing, which is nice because it doesn't make a ton of torque. It really likes to be in the higher rev range, 3,500 RPM and above. And one thing I note is that it is super quiet. Let's see if you can. For a V8, almost sounds electric. Just a little bit of a whir from the front of the car. Get a little bit of rumble from the back end, but not much. But if you're allegedly the fastest guy in the UK, you may want that. It's always a bit of a learning curve to be in a right-hand drive car here in the US, but we've done it a bunch of times now and had plenty of seat time, so it just takes a little bit of an adjustment because all your muscle memory is kind of backwards. And it's just smooth and quiet, so if you're going to spend 30 hours or so in this car, it's nice to have a nice, quiet, comfortable vehicle to be in. One thing I do note is the shifter is kind of rubbery feeling, but not uncommon in more modern manual transmissions as they try to make them smoother and quote-unquote easier to drive. See, one of the things we have to fix here is the wing indicator or mirror indicator. See, we have all kinds of device mounts here for alleged use. Some extra alleged stuff in there. That is the theme of this car. Back behind us, we have our extended fuel range. It is an Audi, so it tends to understeer at the limit with the all-wheel drive, and the way Audi likes to put their engines in front of the front axle. Puts a lot of weight out in front of the front wheels and cause that understeer. But they say understeer safer than oversteer for most drivers, so I'm sure there's some thought process behind that. Feel it's not a huge powerhouse, but once you get it up in the rev range and keep it up there, it does pull quite nicely. Just not quite the torque monster we're used to here at DC. You can see we got our climate control in Celsius, but our cluster is in miles because it is a UK car. Because the UK kind of does things a little different and doesn't use kilometers for their clusters and their odometers and so forth. You're just that little bit of a muted rumble in the low RPMs. Unfortunately, can't kick the tail out in this one with the all-wheel drive, but that is part of the appeal of an Audi, is the all-wheel drive grip. See, it's just muted, but it pulls nicely. So far, I'm not hearing anything abnormal. We did have to tighten one of the kind of like cross members underneath. That was making a little bit of noise. We've also got on order the intermediate shaft for the steering column, which you may be able to hear when you make full turns. It's probably pretty muted, but it makes a clunking noise. And we tried ordering this here in the United States, but unfortunately it is right-hand drive specific, and our local Audi dealer is not able to order it. So Tommy is going to get one ordered on his side of the pond and send it over to us so we can get it swapped out, and he will not have to worry about the U-joint on that shaft causing him any problems on his drive here. So this is Volkswagen Auto Group's, or Audi's, corporate 4.2 liter V8 that has been around since the mid-90s in many renditions. Early ones had timing belts, the later ones like this one have timing chains, unfortunately at the back of the engine. And nothing from Volkswagen, of course, ever has timing problems, so you never have to pull the motor or the transmission to replace the timing chains on this, but makes about 350 horsepower, revs to about a little over 7,000 RPM, so it is enjoyable there. And with the 6-speed manual, you get to row through all the gears you want. Another telltale that this is a later 4.2 is it is direct injection, which you can tell by the 2 high-pressure fuel pumps located right there on top of the cam covers. See, it runs nice and smooth, just a little bit of the ticking from the direct injection, which is totally normal. So in the back here, we've got our Cannonball obligatory extended fuel range tank. I think the factory tank, I just filled this up earlier today, was 14.5, 15 gallons from pretty close to empty, so could definitely do with some extra fuel. So you can see we have this awesome livery, which is from Europol and a couple other European governments and so forth. But neat fact about this car is that it was seized by Interpol in the UK and was actually in line to be crushed before all the charges were acquitted for this car, making that run from the northernmost tip to the southernmost tip of the UK. So fortunately or unfortunately, this one does not need a lot of work after all of its alleged high-speed driving and so forth, but got a couple things to do. We'll get it back to Tommy. We'll make some more memories with it and have a great time, and this one will continue its alleged history. Thank you all for watching. We look forward to seeing you on the next video.